afternoon everyone, and welcome to our talk with the lovely Sam Marshall and Dija Ayodele. So Dija and Sam are going to be talking about broadening your scope through diversity and inclusivity. They're going to have a chat. There is going to be a time that you can ask questions as well, so please feel free to interact with the girls. I think that's what we're looking for. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, well, we're going to start by introducing ourselves, so I'll let Dija go first.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Just checking, you know. So my name is Dija Ayodele. I am an aesthetician by trade. I'm also the author of Black Skin, Different to Skincare Guide, and also the founder of Black Skin Directory. I work up in London. I have a clinic for Western Aesthetics, where we do lots of different types of advanced treatments, including things like chemical peels, lasers, all that sort of stuff. But however, we do focus a lot of our attention on ensuring that women of colour and men of colour are particularly centred and feel they have a safe space to explore aesthetics.
Cool. So my name's Sam Marshall. I'm a beauty therapist. I'm also an educator. And I am an advisor to people like Habia, recently BCCT, out, mainly around gender, but also around waxing and skin. They're my specialist subjects. I'm part of the LGBTQIA community, and I teach trans awareness and gender inclusivity. I'm also, my partner is trans non-binary. A lot of my best friends are trans, so I've got that lived experience through them, but I act like a bit of a satellite to kind of getting that information across, and I just want everyone to feel welcome in every business. So, I'll ask the first question, shall I? We're asking each other questions.
Should we, before we start with questions, we did want this to be an extremely safe space for any questions you have. It's quite a relaxed session. As you see, me and Sam and I both have our phones in our hands.
Reading off our phones.
Reading off, so please do interact and do jump in with questions and all that sort of stuff. I think we just want everyone to go away from this session having learned as much as possible, because sometimes it can be daunting, but yeah.
Yeah, anything you want to ask, you can. Okay, so the first question is, how can my salon be more inclusive and welcome everyone?
Okay. I think we all have different takes on it. I always come towards things or approach things from specifically a woman of colour point of view. So in my own lived experience is how I will answer this. I think one of the first things is it's about being really honest actually with yourself and looking at what you currently offer and looking at it. If you were doing a client journey and someone who doesn't look like you was going to walk into your clinic or your salon, what would they see? How will they be spoken to? What will they face? Will they, for example, see images of anyone who looks like them in terms of the branding you have in the clinic? If they were looking on maybe your social media or your website, will they see anybody that looks like them? It sounds really odd, but honestly, having a picture or some imagery of a black woman or woman of colour on your visuals is actually really helpful, because immediately somebody has something they can relate to. When you look at your marketing speak that you have for your clinic or your salon, is it inclusive? Does it refer to, perhaps, if you were talking about laser, do you have the nuance in there that indicates that for a darker skin tone you might use a slightly different type of laser, or is it just blanket in one vision? So I think that's the way you always have to approach it. Does somebody who doesn't look like me, who might not be the same gender as me, who isn't anything in my circle, will they feel comfortable and welcome in this space? And of course, I know we all are welcoming, you know, hello, how are you, and all that. We will all do that. But when you look deeper underneath that, will they feel that there's a vision of them in this space, or a vision of them has been considered for this space? I think that's one of the first things I always look at.
Yeah, massively. So from a gender inclusivity point of view, what I want to stop seeing is hi ladies. I'm sorry. It really gets me every single time. We've got to remember that not everyone is women that uses our service. We have men in our industry, first of all, but also as customers. And we have people that don't identify as men or women, that might be non-binary, gender fluid, gender diverse. So we want to make sure that through our marketing, our website, which is usually the first window people see of your business, could anyone come to that business? Would everyone and anyone feel included? And absolutely, like Dija said, on your marketing, I want to see people of different age groups. I want to see people that might not be, they might be gay. I mean, you can't tell by looking at people, hence me. One of those weird secret ones. But when you do an audit of your website and your social media, and think, am I actually appealing to everyone? Recently, I designed a course for spas, and when I looked at spas, all I saw was white, slim, attractive, heterosexual couples. That's all I saw, normally with blonde hair as well. Now that isn't a true representation of what we've got in this room, let alone our client base, is it? So I think it's all about representation.
Fabulous. Yeah. I'll just add to that actually. The other place in which you can actually have a look to make sure you're more inclusive, and I was guilty of this as well, is things like your consultation form. I think yes, I know you obviously like, oh no, don't say hi ladies, and I get that, but for the beauty industry, it's very traditionally female-centered. Most beauty salons are owned by women, a lot of the clients are women, so therefore we are in that mindset where it's women. So even things like our consultation forms tend to be very female-centered as well. Things like, I mean, obviously when you have a salon, right, you're designing in your vision and how you want it to look. And I remember when we were designing ours, and I remember I wanted pink walls, and my husband was just like, but babe, men aren't going to like this. And I was just like, it's not my problem. But in the end, we ended up, it just made me think, and I thought, you know what, actually, men might not mind. There might be other types of people who, you know, and I know it's my personal vision, but I ended up going for coral, which was a little bit off the pink, but it was just little things like that as well that were really impactful, that you think, that you don't normally think about, because I mean, I wanted to work in beauty since I was 6. I was, you know, and I love pink and, you know, and all that sort of stuff. But it was something that actually made me stop and think about not everything has to be in my image, because your salon isn't necessarily about you. It's about the clients who are coming in.
Yeah, who you're going to attract. What should I consider with regards to treatments to ensure that they are suitable to all?
I think one of the first things I've always looked at, and I have always gone by, is when I speak to a brand, one of the first questions I ask is, what are your clinical trials like, and who were they done on, and have you got any evidence of this? Or you're going to say to me, okay, well, we did it on Fitzpatrick 1 to 3, and we inferred the rest. And at that point, you've lost me, I'm not interested. Because one of the number one questions that Black women will ask me, but white women don't ask me, is they'll pick up a product and say, is this for me? I never ever have that with my white clients, because we do live although it's vastly changing and changing very fast, we live in a default white society, I always say. So my white clients will never ask me that, but Black women are always very apprehensive and will ask me, is this for me? So, and I always have to do tell them about the product, the clinical trials, the this, the that, and so therefore if the brand hasn't got that to start with, then I already can't use the product, I already can't sell it, because what am I going to say? Am I just going to stutter and start lying? Because immediately feeds into the narrative that Black women sometimes have, that, oh, I wasn't even considered when they were doing this, so what's the point? Why am I going to support this? I wasn't considered. So I think that's one of the first places to check that the products you want to use for your treatment, your back bar, you have enough evidence to show how this works. You have clinical trials, you have imagery. I think that's the first thing you can go on.
So for me with treatments, the one area is always intimate waxing, isn't it? We do need to know our genitals, someone has for intimate waxing, so we do need to know their gender. But really, pretty much every treatment can be gender neutral. So that if you can make everything in your clinic gender neutral, then do it. I get calls every week usually from who I think are men on the phone going, do you do men's pedicures? I'm like, yeah, we're a gender neutral salon. A foot's a foot. You know, I don't say that. I'm like, yes, a foot. I'm much more professional. But I'm just like, really? So I think we have to kind of retrain as well, because what happened is everything was for women, and then we did a men's treatment menu, didn't we, to go to the men. You're allowed this, it's fine because it says men on it. So now what we have to do is retrain everyone to be like, no, this is for everyone. You don't need your own list. You don't need, I hope there's no new brands in here, but you don't need a men's line of skincare for things, skin. So we have to kind of swing it back the other way. So everything that you can shout about being gender neutral, and also use the term gender neutral, not unisex.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about, I think
so one thing about men, women,
you can introduce yourself first.
I'm Diana from Orchids Retreat. So when you're talking about gender neutral and having clients in, my question on that was, I know for this, but things like that, but when you go into, I've lost my train of thought. I'll go to your question, remember. On the laser, I had always thought that you had to go on the cut scale with a fair skin and a darker hair. You mentioned that you can use it just like a laser. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, back in the day, can I say back in the day? Back in the day, I'm just trying to put a bit on my back. Yeah, lasers were dark skin or dark hair, or dark patch on lighter skin, absolutely. But now we have lasers like the Nd:YAG, for example, which can bypass that and do dark hair on dark skin. So it's about the updated technology. So yes, you would have traditional lasers where you wouldn't be able to use them on a dark fabric because they would cause a lot of heat damage and burn. Whilst now you do have the more updated lasers like Nd:YAG, for example, that you can use on a darker skin. That's the question I get asked all the time. I get lasers all the time, whether it be for pigmentation or hair removal, and I can safely go and get that done, and I have no worries with the place I go to. But there is an investment a clinic or salon has to make. A lot of the new lasers now do incorporate that anyway. Laser technology and the marketing and the narrative that the laser brands use nowadays, even skincare brands as well, they've all updated it in the last, I'd say, less than 10 years, but 5 to 10 years. It's massively improved, and there's a lot more out there in terms of technology that would work for a darker skin tone when it comes to laser.
Sorry, I remember my question.
Okay,
so now that you work with BTCT and have the and they do qualifications and things, is there a bit in there now that you need to do treatment on male clients? Because I have
what
team
treatment are you
members,
talking about?
anything. But I have team members that come in for an interview and they're like, I've never treated a man before. I'm terrified to wax his back or to do a pedicure or anything like that. And I'm like, well,
they should have got live. They should at college though. They should be given a cross section of clients to work on. So that would be down to the individual college. The NOS now is even the intimate waxing is grouped together, but we list the areas that you're doing. But wherever possible, we've taken gender out. So a client that comes is a client. Even in barbering, it's in most cases now you can work on any head of hair. But if they haven't worked on a guy, maybe that's an opportunity for you to train them and to encourage them. But we seem to have this fear of treating men as well. And I think there's so many people that are like, no, I'm too scared, I'm not doing that, and that needs to be worked on, absolutely, because not every man is a predator.
So how do you bring that, I understand I work on that with my team, 100%, but to roll out across the industry, what would be your advice to
I say that the colleges need to get more clients in that aren't just women. For everyone, non-binary clients as well, everybody.
I mean, I would agree that even when it comes to skin colour.
Yeah, I didn't treat one person of colour when I was at college.
People are scared. They are scared of, and that's why I always try to explain to people that, especially to the black community, I was trying to say that it's not that anyone's trying to be offensive. Actually, it's not like that white 21-year-old therapist is trying to be offensive. It's that they don't know, and therefore they're scared, and the people have heard so much that they're now worried. Imagine what it's like to have a scared therapist with a pot of glycolic acid. Do you know what I mean? You know, so which is why I always emphasize it's more about the education. It's not about sort of lambasting people and say, oh, you're being racist. No, it's not about that. Sometimes, yeah, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes there is a clear, you're just not a nice person. There is that. But a lot of the time, it's about just absolute fear. You've never done in college. It's never been taught to you in college. You don't know what the ramifications are. You hear all these scare stories. So therefore, you are, I just imagine putting myself in the shoes of even some of my staff, I imagine putting myself in the shoes. The only reason why my staff are confident, I have one English girl, one Nigerian girl, and one Chinese girl. And the only reason why they are confident is because they work with me. And I'm always like, babe, get in there, come on, don't mess about, let's just get this over and done with. But that's because they work with me. But a lot of people, they don't know. And therefore they're scared, just like you say. And in me, in your world, it's like, come on, just,
yeah,
let's just get on with
just a
it.
human.
But really, when you look out there, and when you look at when people are coming out of college, it is quite, I'm not gonna lie, it is a bit shocking sometimes. It's like,
But
you
they're
don't
working
know
on it, you know.
why melanin works like that, and literally going, you don't know? I'm like, no, nobody told me.
Yeah.
Even people who do the BSc course that just launched in February, some of the feedback we get, and I will literally sit with my head in my hands going, come on, man, come on, it can't be like this. But it is, because we hear the feedback.
I did Dija's course a month ago because I literally, at college, I didn't treat one black skin at all. And I class myself as quite good at skin. And it was
just
brilliant
the
course.
basic nuggets that
Yeah.
I've learned over the years that I know that people don't know, that I'm like, oh, I'll put this all together in one place.
But I think that if you did get educated a long time ago, then it's down to you to educate yourself on anything that you don't know. I want to do awareness courses around neurodiversity and all those different things that I don't know about. These things are really important. Fertility as well, that's one of the best courses I've done recently that Amy did over there.
Just in an observation, just hearing, I think there's a fear for everybody about offending anybody.
That brings us on to our next question.
Yeah, we're offended to offend anybody.
Yeah, so what terms would be offensive for you, Dija?
It's really funny, right? This morning, at about 7 o'clock, a friend of mine who's a journalist, she sent me some questions to answer, and one of the questions, I don't know if is there something in the water? Because one of the questions was, have you noticed that terminology around black skin changing over the last few years? And honestly, I could play because I've actually voice noted her thing, and I could play it for you. I said, actually, what I've noticed is a lot of confusion around what you can and cannot say. And for me, that's more important than actually just even saying black skin. It's the people are like, oh, do I say skin colour? Do I say woman of colour?
So what do you say? Tell us.
For me, it's contextual. If I'm talking about black women or black people, I will say black. If I am talking about anybody who is non-white, I will say skin of colour. If depending on, because sometimes I do a lot of journalism and writing, sometimes the term people of colour flows much better in what I'm writing, so I will use that. If I want to talk about white people, I will say white person or white lady, white man or whatever. And I think, okay, maybe you might say, well, Dija, you're a bit gobby and you're a bit bullshit, so you just go black, white, you know. Or I will turn around to the client and say, where are you from? Because, yes, you can say, my therapist, Rachel, I know she's Chinese, I always refer to her as Chinese, but people from, say, China, Japan, even parts of China, you know, just ask someone, you know, where are you from? What's your heritage? What would you like? How would I refer to you? And I find, I don't know, because, again, maybe I'm a Londoner, so I find it easy to just kind of be like, you are.
Do we say?
I don't know. But I would literally be as, sometimes I say to my team, tell the client you don't want to offend them, so it would be better if they told you.
Yeah.
I've got one client who's half Chinese and she doesn't like the term mixed race for her, she likes dual heritage. So is that just kind of subjective to what someone wants to, how they'd like to be referred?
Yeah. I think if you have disclaimed at the start I'm not quite sure, I don't want to cause offence, please let me know how you would like to be referred to, then I think you don't know what you don't know until you learn it. And when they tell you, then you know you'll never repeat that again. You know, I sometimes find or feel that we make it more complicated. We tie ourselves up into a knot and make it so much more complicated than it needs to be. And I spend a lot of time going, how can I say this in plain English? Literally, especially when I was writing my book, I go, okay, this is melanogenesis, but how can I just say it in English, not what it is? And so I spend a lot of time just saying that. And I think if you're honest, and you know, I think that is helpful rather than getting all knotted up and then the wrong thing comes out.
Yeah, massively.
You had a question?
I was just just when you say where are you from, so I come from a mixed race background. My stepbrother, for instance, is Ugandan. But I've been with him when somebody said, oh, where are you from? And he said, I'm from England. Where do you think I'm from? He can be quite rude. And some people do come back with those kind of...
I'd probably say, can I ask, do you mind if I ask your heritage?
Yes, heritage. Yeah. So that's
Got that one right.
That would be me. Like if you ask me where I'm from, I'll tell you I'm Sierra Leonean by heritage, or Nigerian. I'm half Sierra Leonean, half Nigerian by heritage, but I will tell you that I'm British. You know, I was saying my daughter's 8. I was saying to her the other day. She was saying, she said, are we English? And I said, no, we're not English. So we're British. We're part of Britain. We're British, but our heritage is Nigerian. You know that. So I always explain it like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What about from...
For gender?
Yeah.
Yeah. So misgendering someone is have you been misgendered yet today?
6 times.
Okay, that's not as bad as pro beauty. So getting someone's gender wrong is
so
probably
sad,
the worst thing that you can do to someone that particularly is not
Sorry,
binary.
for someone who is trans non-binary, I'm very, by the way. My pronouns are they, them, and for me it's more, don't overcross it, and I don't want you to feel bad, and you don't want me to feel bad, but I'm still protecting you by saying, well, people feel bad. You know what I mean? And it's not really about that, it's more just like, that's the human being. And I think it very much crosses with race and everything.
Absolutely.
Until you live it, you don't really understand it. And I know that no one here, I'm pretty sure no one here, I mean, never were there, would want to really offend me. I'm pretty sure the same with yourself and stuff like that. So
we just want to do with our best that we can
I
possibly
think
do.
it is a hard one because even my mum says like, oh, I can't get anything right, and I'm like, just chill.
I don't think the media's helped particularly.
The media towards the trans community is horrendous at the moment, and this is all the more reason why I really fight for this cause. Other things would be asking someone, if we talk about someone who's trans, someone what their previous name was, that's called dead naming, so that's an absolute no-no. What did you look like before? Do you want to be a man? Do you want to be a woman? Have you decided? They're all things.
Also, it's none of your business. Get the treatment done and move on.
I do hear from a lot of my trans friends, you know, they've been on the couch a couple of times at someone's salon and then they think it's okay, the therapist thinks it's okay to start asking questions. Are you going to have the op? Have you had the op? You know, that's like me saying, what do your genitals look like when I've just met you? People do say these things. I've got a friend and in his place of work he's a trans guy. The things they asked him, you know, can we see it when you've got it? Can you get a working order? Can you still, will your wife still be a lesbian? What will your kids say? So all those things people do say, and I know a lot of us are kind of like, how can that happen? But it's just kind of, I suppose, asking personal questions would be an absolute no-no. And then also something we get a lot is what should I do if a client misgenders one of my trans clients? Do I correct them or not? Yeah, I would absolutely do. You would stick up for them in that instance. Has that answered that a little bit? Yeah. I can't think of any more no-nos, but I'm sure they'll pop up. I'm confused about pronouns. What's the best thing to do? So, this is for me. I love pronouns so much. They're on our speaker badges. We asked for them to be on. Not everyone, sorry. Not the rest of you, but next year, Leslie, next year. They're going on. If you look at email footers, a lot of people have them on their email footers. These are places you can have it on your Instagram, you can have it on your LinkedIn. Now, why should you have it? Most of you in the room are cis, which means that you're not trans. So why should you have your pronouns? Why should I do Dija's cause? I could just treat white skin. Why should I? Because I'm making an effort. I'm doing my bit. And if having pronouns on one of your things makes someone like Kerry feel more validated as a human, then why would you not do it? So it doesn't matter if your name is Victoria and someone knows that you're female. You know, I don't need to say that I'm female. Well, actually, it shows that you're an ally. It shows that you get the trans community and the non-binary community. And it makes you feel safe.
So,
Yeah.
What is it? So my pronouns are they, them. So I'm assuming when people refer to you, they say, oh, she's sitting over there. So it'd be she, her. And then you've got like titles, right? So like Mr. This. Okay. So my title would be mix. So we take the R and the S and just mix everything gender neutral because, yeah, like pronouns validate trans people, but also you can get het people that use non-binary terms as well.
Yeah, so not everyone that's non-binary is actually gay as well.
Separated by male and female, and as a non-binary person, I just live in my life. Right? I'm not going to be identified by my gender. Yeah.
We talk about this a lot more in our course,
so that's
in a lot more details. But your pronouns are basically how someone refers to you, she, her, he, him, they, them. Some people use two pronouns, she, them. So you could ask them what their preferred pronoun is in that case. And some people like Jonathan Van Ness of Queer Eye, he, she, they use all three pronouns, so you can pretty much pick which one.
Yeah.
Ollie Alexander is actually non-binary, but he uses he, him pronouns.
I think it's just respecting and understanding.
That's all it is, it's all it is. Sorry.
I don't understand why do we need to talk all these things. Sometimes I get these types of points like, why do we need to talk all these things? We don't know when Putin will switch on now or whatever. Just enjoy the moment, enjoy the day.
Enjoy the treatment.
Yeah, enjoy the treatment.
Oh yeah, during the treatment, absolutely. But if you can add pronouns to your booking form, then it means that if someone is trans or non-binary, it might give you the heads up, and then you might, be able to. Because I will say to my team, Alex is in for a manicure. She uses she, her pronouns. Now Alex still presents as a male, but Alex is a trans woman. It's just that she doesn't choose to dress when she comes for her appointment. So that's really important that my team know when that person's going to them what their pronouns are.
Yeah, you can use some of the, I think the one we use at work, our CRM system, does allow
Timely?
you to,
Yeah, Timely is the first system to
Yeah,
add pronouns.
they
They're out
have
there.
pronouns on there.
Yeah.
And I think for us, I like to know as much about the client before they walk through the door. So we always get our clients walking because your consultation form is so long. And I'm like, well, I like to be armed actually, because our consultation is actually about more of a discussion and a chat than me then asking you basic questions. And it's fun, you don't think about it, but my assistant will go through I'll walk in and she'll go, you've got Leslie coming in for skin consultation, and I'll go, is she black, is she white? Because I'm already preparing in my head what kind of concerns I might be faced with, because I think after a while you get to know different groups and different demographics, what's key for them. Then I'll go, how old is she? And so I'll be pottering about and I'll just be firing off these questions, and then now what's the pronoun? Because before Leslie walks through the door, I already know Leslie is white, she's cis, she is perhaps menopausal because of her age. So I'm just using your name as an example. but I already know all those things, and so therefore I'm less likely to cause any type of offence. I'm going to welcome them properly because I already have I even down to things like what skincare products are they using. So for example, Tom, sorry, my assistant will shout at me, oh, she's using black soap, Dij. And I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. So instantly before they walk in, so black soap is typically West African. So I already know, not only do I know they're black, I know what area they might be from. And these are not things that are set in stone, because they could come in and present something completely different. But I have a vague idea of what's coming, and I think that's why it's important that we know these things beforehand. especially with things like pronouns.
Yeah, the relative.
I think for the pronouns, for sure, for people knowing prior to the visit to the salon, it's going to give them so much more comfort and make them more welcomed when you're welcoming with beforehand, rather than guessing it and doing it after consultation. So welcoming as they walk in the door, that's giving them the safe space and comfort. That's a really good one.
And people that are trans or non-binary actually have to risk assess every situation before they go to it. So if they're thinking of using your salon, they've looked at your social media, they've looked to see if you've got an EDI policy or statement on there, and they've worked out if they're going to feel safe in your business. Would I do that? No. Would you do that at your neighbour's business? No, but these people do this. Kerry is a barber, and most of their clients are non-binary, and that tells me that all those non-binary people don't feel safe going to their local barber. They have to pick someone to go to, and that shouldn't be how it works. Christina.
Hi, so Christina from Roman Hippie Associates. I've actually been on your course and I think it's fantastic. Dija, I'm going to find out about yours, so I'm going on yours as well now.
Oh, and Dija's is great.
My question is, obviously some spa brands will have male grooming ranges. Obviously we don't want to offend, we don't want to have that kind of traditional old male menu. How do we incorporate it? How do we make it non-offensive?
I would have a gender neutral one, and then if you need to have a male one as well, if you've still got those clients that kind of, they need to have permission to come to you and go, right, okay, that's for me. I'm allowed a manicure because it says man next to it. Keep it for now, but make sure everything is gender neutral. So it means that if someone that is maybe a man but assigned male at birth, non-binary, they can pick from the gender neutral one. So if you have to double up. I still have male intimate waxing on my website because my SEO will direct those people searching for that term to me. However, I have alternatives for someone that still has a scrotum and is a male.
It's good you mentioned about SEO actually, because the business side of things is also very important. So if anything convinces you about the need to be inclusive, it's just about the mullah. Really, if that's going to be, I've worked in some situations where literally they've gone, oh, we can make money by being inclusive, so we'll do it. And whilst I'm like, yeah, I'd love you to be inclusive for all the right reasons and to do it really from your heart, but if there's also a business case element for it, and so things like the SEO and all that will help, and sometimes it is good to still have certain terms like male. However, what you can do to sort of bring it all in, which we've sometimes done from a skin point of view, is if something's particularly suited or has a particular angle or benefit for a particular group of people, we will maybe asterisk it, or we will write in the copy, if you are of particular darker skin tone perhaps, this might be something you're more interested in, you know, we write it somehow that it flows well, but you still get your SEO, you still get your client walking through the door, you still get all your clients feeling included and considered, and you still, at the end of the day, have a positive impact on your bottom line. So there are, rather than just starkly separating different menus, there are ways in which you can kind of, you know, bring in the services of a copywriter, for example, explain to them what you want and how you want to achieve it, and they can help you write in a clever way that everybody then is included without it being any sweat off your back.
I was just going to say, and you kind of mentioned it now, I worked at a software company that isn't timely but has gone down through the changing the titles on there, so you've got your Mr, your Mrs, you've got mix on there, so that you can start to, at that very first bit where you're talking about imagery and logos and including everybody in your imagery, when they get to that online booking and they've got to register and you've got Mr or Mrs, taking that out of the equation as well, so that barrier isn't there at the very beginning. And like you say, when you start to welcome your clients through, you know what to expect or have an idea of what to expect when your clients are arriving through. So yeah, good to maybe not be the second, but at least we're catching up with you.
Well, we'll still shout about you. You don't have to be the first. What mistakes do people still make in terms of marketing?
So I think in terms of marketing, I think nowadays social media plays a big part of how we market ourselves. There's people or businesses who don't actually even have websites, but they have a social media presence. So I would say look at your social media, be very critical of it in terms of someone who doesn't look like me, scroll through it, and I do this as well. I'll scroll through different, when people say, oh, we want to register on that skin direction, I'll go on the Instagram and I'll just have a quick look, okay, I see what we're working with here. It helps to look at your business through the eyes of someone who's not you, and pinpoint those places where you may be falling down in terms of that marketing side of things. Also, when it comes to marketing, things like how you write, or whoever does your writing for you, are they inclusive? Are they thinking? I used to have this problem in the magazine industry when I'd say to them, a lot of the editors are wealthy-ish, white, blonde women. And I'll say to them, you write for yourselves, you need to think outside of yourselves and make sure that you're writing for an entire group, the population. So make sure you do the same thing when you're writing, whether it be blog posts or anything like that. Make sure that you are including people who don't look like you, who may not be you. If you hire someone to do your website and stuff like that, most people will just go and get stock images, which is fine, but there are so many what we call now diverse stock imagery sites that you can use, so that you have a wide variety demographic of people being shown on your site. What education you have, you can use as part of your marketing. I know many clinics who have either been to a Black Skin Directory training day, or they've been on the course, who actually use that as part of their marketing. So if you have this information, you have done this, and you're like, I'm confident I can serve this population, I can do this, shout about it and use that as a marketing thing. Put it in your SEO as well. People forget all of that. They know these things, they've got the skills, but yet the SEO doesn't actually say any of that. So no traffic. When someone in Essex searches black skincare Essex, well, there might be a clinic in Essex who's particularly great at welcoming black clients or women of colour, or people of colour rather, but the SEO doesn't say that, so that's a big marketing mistake you've already made, because they're not going to come to you. Instead, what ends up happening is people end up coming all the way to Maida Vale, and I'm like, okay, great, but you've come all that way. I'm pretty sure I know clinics in X place that are perfect for you, and they're like, well, I couldn't find it. I looked online, I couldn't find anything. So that's already somewhere people can start looking at. The brands that you use, a really good cheap way of marketing is the brands that you use, get their clinical imagery, get their case studies, and put that on your marketing as well. You haven't had to shell any money out, you haven't had to do anything, but yet you've already showing everybody in your marketing that you can do darker skin, for example. So that's a way of doing it as well. Get your own case studies together. And also, I would say, when you're doing some of your marketing, authenticity is key. If you have this knowledge, but yet you don't have the footfall or clients to be able to practice on or show off, be very honest. People always find me on Instagram being like, oh, I'm trying to do this, but I don't have a clue how to do it, and someone will always come forward. Be honest and say, we'd like to get this going for our skin of colour clients because we believe we have something to offer, but we're looking for models, for example. And you'll see people come forward for that, So again, that's another marketing element that you might think, well, it's just for training really, but people do see that and they go, oh, they're training to have skin of colour services or whatever it is, and people do latch on to that. And I've done it time and time again, and it works.
So for me, just quickly, tokenism is a big thing. We're coming into June, which is Pride History Month. Cue everyone getting their Pride stuff out. We'll get t-shirts in Primark when they don't give back to the charity, which is really bad. So make sure that if you are talking about something, do it all year round. Don't just do it in that particular month. Unless you're doing it as an education piece and a focus. But people do capitalise it. I live in Manchester, and every August, which is our Pride Month, all the shops have a flag out. Great, keep it out the whole year. And then another thing is saying that you're maybe a transgender safe space without the education. That can be really dangerous, especially if you trained as a clinic owner, but you haven't trained your team. So on your day off, someone might walk through that door, get misgendered, get treated badly, and it could literally ruin their day. It can actually, 41% of trans people try and take their own lives, by the way. So that person, that can make a massive impact, whatever happens in your clinic.
I think we've got one last question?
Oh yeah, what common myths still exist in relation?
No, not the takeaways.
Oh, the takeaways.
Yeah. So if I'll ask you because you've done all the asking. What are the top 3 things that everyone in can take away?
Add pronouns to your booking system is a biggie, and try and use them in daily life, and try and throw in using they them for people that you know, or he, him, she, her, because you'll get used to using it. Representation and education. Get educated. If you don't know about what we've been talking about, then get educated on it. You can Google it, you can watch a YouTube video, or you can do one of our courses.
I would say definitely I'd start at half the education bit again. Absolutely is key. That's your first starting point. I would like everyone who's got a clinic to go away, get on your Instagram, look through it, see what it represents. What does it say about, and because I think for a lot of people what it says, what the Instagram says is not what they think, but that's how they just fall into a trap and a habit of doing it. So that's the second thing I'd say. And I guess one of the other things I would say is keep an open mind. Try not to get too bogged down in the space, because I think then it shuts you down and it doesn't enable you to think a bit wider. So just, you want, like I said, people get so worked up, and I'm sat here and I'm like, I'm black, I'm not offended. So please don't try and make yourself, so just ask the question you need to ask and learn, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're not going to know if you don't ask. And you're not going to offend by being a trier. Oh, sorry, Leslie.
Sorry, that's me shooting my hand up, sorry. So I'm coming at this from a slightly different angle. So I am a journalist and edit Vitality. Dija, I've spoken to you many times before. For me, it seems really frustrating because there is this lack of education, and you guys are having to put on these courses yourself. So this is probably my naivety, but why aren't the colleges doing more? Like, what's going wrong with the education system? Because
colleges do book us. We've got a few. So
but why isn't it in the curriculum already? Like,
why is it not in the curriculum?
Like, who do we ask for that?
I think it is moving towards that. It is definitely moving towards that.
But the thing is, though,
yeah,
kids don't need my training as much as people that are my age. They really don't. They really know a lot.
3% of Gen Z people, child people of the future, they are using pronouns standardly, they're checking DEIs and stuff like that before they go into jobs, because for some people of a different age generation, they don't know, that's why it's like freaking out, but for them, it's just and I think that's why it is going through the education, but it's taken a long time. Same as it's taken, now we've got black hair models to work with Afro hair, but 10 years ago that was like myth, it never happened. So now it's taken away gender equality models, and it's moving forward. It's just taking too long.
I couldn't answer you why it's not in the why it's not in the. It's showing up more and more. I can put it like that. It's showing up more and more.
It's on the curriculum to treat Fitzpatrick 5'6" and to treat type 4 hair, isn't it now? So
yeah, it's definitely showing up more and more, and you find more therapists coming out being a bit more clued up and all that sort of stuff. It's definitely improving. But why isn't it there in great depth? I don't know. There is a cost attached to it.
It is there in phenotypes now, and lanthiotypes, and the Google, which I think is good, because it's making people focus more on what type of person are they dealing generally all around, because the world is now mixed.
Yeah,
so you cannot take it that somebody is either black, of colour, or white. You really have to dig down in everything that you're doing. So I think if you're using those particular scales as well, they're really open up to you of what client you're really dealing with.
I say this all the time. It is improving every day.
Yes.
Is it where we want it to be as of today? No.
No.
But tomorrow, is it going to get a bit better? Yes, it is.
Yeah,
what more can you do?
Our course, I hope our course won't exist in 10 years' time, because we don't teach people to be nice to gay people anymore. So why are we having to teach them to be nice to trans people? You know, it will come eventually. We'll get it, and then you know, I've got an 11-year-old. He gets non-binary. He never misgenders Kerry ever, and he's 11. So, yeah.
It will be very different. I have an 8-year-old that doesn't think of anything.
They don't see race either. I remember my son going, "This is my friend Daniel. He's Chinese." And I was like, "You can see that, darling. It was so cute." Like he just didn't get it at all.
They don't at that age. But I think Leslie is itching for us to stop talking.
I know Andrea's probably putting eyes on the back. It's me. It's black.
I just pretended not to see that.
So no, thank you, ladies. I think that was so important. As well, that we will share the details of these 2 courses. So if anyone wants to get in touch, we can pass on your details, etc. And definitely.
But if anyone's got any other questions, we'll just go.
Thank you both so much.